But the other apple in the room is competition. Like on the article itself, obviously Final Fantasy, those are great crossover and competition, and people are coming and playing and getting established in these communities and putting in time. And when you start to factor like even just the idea of just sunk cost, where you're like, all right, I put a lot of money in here, I finally have detached from that. I finally have, whatever it was, ripped the band-aid off. It hurt, but I've now started not just testing a new game, but actually getting established, spending money in that game, building friends and community and having content to do and having fun. Then all of a sudden you start to see how more and more players become more nomadic. But then what we're seeing right now within, especially in MMOs, in this space alone, we are seeing even more competition in terms of new engines, new technology. The thing that those games don't have is 20 years of content, but the things that those games do have is a fresh start. It has a whole new opportunity. And while you don't have to always weigh like potential as a kind of a key indicator, a promise of the MMO is its, or an attraction, at least for me, is what it can become. The journey that you go on as the game evolves itself, and being there from an early start to kind of seeing how it evolves over time ends up being an attractive offering. And not that it has to appeal to everybody, but what do you think about the competition also being a case? Like this comes back to the Blizzard lawsuit with NetEase as well, like within China. Like they're not, WoW isn't, Blizzard games aren't the only show in town. Do you think that's also going to add to the difficulty for like when Microsoft acquires them, for them to actually get back into China? Because Tencent, NetEase, they have their own games. They already have their own games. That they might want to say, hey, turns out the Chinese players are playing our games more and not even worried about Blizzard games right now.
I think it comes down to leverage. When you see these various Twitter accounts publicly talking about features getting crossed out and things like that, all that does is start to hurt Blizzard's ability to make money domestically and start to make the Chinese million players look better and better and better and better. So as you have Diablo 4 come online in June, and that does not have a Chinese portion of its release, and as you have World of Warcraft start to scale up, in theory, there's still a BlizzCon this year. We'll see. Mike Ibarra says that's still on track. Sure. Based on the Anaheim Convention Center's schedule, it looks like that's probably the first weekend in November, because that's when there's an opening that's in the normal thing. But Mike Ibarra has not said that. That's just if you go look at the Anaheim Convention Center, where there's a gap that fits within the normal time frame that BlizzCon's announced. But they have announced nothing. People are supposed to book airfare and hotels and tickets. Like a convention trip can cost an individual player easily $2,000. And you have people that are just supposed to drop. You want 40,000 people to drop anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 or more. People that buy merch and stuff like that, it can be a substantially. And you want them to do that with 5 months notice, 4 months notice. People with kids and jobs, like the whole thing's a mess. So like as you look at this, it's going to make Blizzard look more and more desperate. And so if you have somebody who pulled out of a relationship with NetEase because they felt NetEase was overextending their power in this relationship, and maybe they were, how did you gain more leverage? Like if NetEase felt fair in what they were asking for and you felt they were over asking, and now you've been out of this market and you kind of need it back, all of a sudden what they were offering before might start to look more and more reasonable because you need them. And
assuming so that offer is still on the table.
And it's not going to be. And so Microsoft is now going to have to come in and try to renegotiate that. So there's no way this doesn't cost Microsoft money.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, is this lawsuit is representative of what is this going to cost them? Because like my understanding is from everything that's been released, it looks like Microsoft has already pre-negotiated the Activision Blizzard purchase price. And that's pre-calculated. And Activision Blizzard stock is not currently worth what Microsoft is going to pay. So they're already in the short term overpaying. And now in addition to that, they're going to be taking on whatever this lawsuit costs. They're going to be taking on whatever renegotiating these publishing deals costs. They're going to be taking on. So like, it's just like they've agreed to take Activision Blizzard in. That's been that's what they want. But it's just more and more like, hey, I'm moving in with you. And like, do you mind if you pay for the cardboard boxes so I can move to your place? And you're like, sure, man. Like, you just didn't account for that. Hey, can you tip the movers? Because I don't have any cash. You know what, man? No problem. I got some cash. Happy to have you move in. Also, pay the movers, because I didn't do that. Also, I didn't pay my last month's rent, and I'm behind on a couple of internet bills. And so our internet at the new place is going to get shut off because it's under the same provider if we don't pay those back bills I hadn't been paying. Also, my car just got repossessed. Like, at what point are you like, I really regret asking you to move in with me? Like, at what point is Microsoft realizing we're fighting with the FTC, we're fighting with the European equivalent, we're fighting with, like, at what point is Microsoft realizing, like, this Activision Blizzard thing has been a nightmare? Like, this Bobby guy is just lighting everything that we agreed to purchase on fire.
It feels appropriate, like, considering at least how the internet generally views Bobby, right? Like, within all of this, like, and the coup de grace is literally that he's, you know, going to be a billionaire, and you know, and who knows? So people think that that's like, oh, he's not going to be in gaming. He's got enough money, he can flex into any gaming mindset that he wants to do. But maybe he'll go buy a big old boat and, you know, enjoy the rest of his retirement and his $1 billion plus, you know, that he gets to walk away from all of this with. And it's not that they can do anything about it, because that deal has yet to go through. So we're still left waiting and wanting more information. So yeah, it seems like a tough spot to be, especially if you're a WoW fan in China. But the good news is there's more games to come, and who knows, maybe WoW will get turned back on this year, and then you end up as a WoW fan having all this extra content that wasn't necessarily playable for you guys when you get out there. Regardless of it all, wishing them, I guess I wish them the best. Wish you guys all the best. Now, oh man,
dude, like, there are people who are like, well, good, they shouldn't be in China. If that was what this was, it would be a totally different conversation. If Blizzard's like, we've looked at it, and like, with new regulations and with everything going on in China, we just don't think that this market and its regulations and the partners that are available in the region align with our business values any longer, and so we are willingly choosing to burn this bridge. That would be a drastically different conversation.
Yeah.